You can't let the hocus pocus of Candace Owens dupe you. Let me say this and make it plain. Candace Owens isn't exposing corruption. She's manufacturing chaos. You know, every week, it's a new conspiracy, a new villain, a new country supposedly trying to assassinate her. No evidence, no report, no timeline, just theatrics dressed up as truth-telling. And for some reason or another, we have Christians, believers, people who serve the God of the Bible, who can't see through what's taking place. The slander, the intentional wickedness of pigeonholing people, exposing their names, releasing private information. Now, if you have ever sent Candace Owens a private text message, listen, be prepared, because at any point when she wants to prove her point, she might serve you up on a platter. I first want to show this video clip here, pull it up here, of just a timeline of the numerous times where Candace Owens pointed out that someone tried to threaten her life. Now, let me be the first to tell you this. I don't want any harm to come to Candace Owens. You know, I personally think that people are going too far in this wacky world of podcasting and information and content, where a person has to be supposedly threatened for their life for speaking truth or speaking what is called their truth. Now, I already know there's only one truth, but people have a right to share what they believe and what they think. People have a right to, grift and to pander to their audience. People have a right to do that. It's, freedom of speech is true. But I would never wish that someone would try to assassinate her or take her life. I wouldn't do that. I mean, to be honest with you, I think that she's bitter and scorned and that she's in need of salvation. My prayer is that she would come to salvific faith. I personally think that she's lost and that she needs to be redeemed, and that God ultimately is the only one that can make her whole. And so I want to put that out there as well. I am not trying to endorse what is going to be stated in this video clip. I'm not endorsing that, because that would be wicked. We're not supposed to render evil for evil, nor accusation or railing for railing. The Bible speaks against that. But I do want to point out that she has a pattern, this rhythm of constantly talking about someone wanting to do harm to her, but she rarely offers any solid proof. Now, before we watch this video clip, do me a big favor, smash the thumbs up icon. Click that now. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let's get ready to rock and roll. Take a look.
This person writes, God bless you. Please be careful. Joan Rivers got killed for exposing Michelle Obama, the Hollywood secret. I appreciate that. I also know that if they want to kill you, they will. I mean, that's the truth. And that's a sad thing to say, but at least you'll know who did it. It was the Frankists.
I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists.
In a full year of plots against my family, and we have been in just warrior mode for so long. And I just can't even, they just won't even just let me enjoy an end of pregnancy. They're like, no. What else can we get? What else can we find? And like I said, her piece matched too much the most recent Zionist attack. There is a figurative bounty on my head. Apparently influencers making up to $1,000 to make anti-Candace and anti-Tucker Carlson videos. The people have given us names and said, this is the marketing campaign that's paying for this, or this is the organization foundation that offered me money for this. But you have to present concrete proof. Like, I obviously am aware that the campaign is happening, but we need to actually see the email. So you have to submit the email that you received or the text message that you received to make a video about Candace Owens. I just want to know who specifically is behind it. so we can out that person. 10K is now the bounty for that information. Send it to tips@CandaceOwens.com. Emmanuel Macron is holding up negotiations to end the Russian and Ukrainian war unless you stop speaking about his wife. Obviously, I don't want to have on my conscience that less Christian men could have died in the East if I just shut up about something. I kind of go back in my mind to that conversation, and I find myself wondering whether or not Trump was being directed by somebody to give me a call, and whether he was being honest with me, if it was really coming from him, if it was coming from higher up. You know, my general perspective is that we live in a nation that is governed by the military. So I don't necessarily believe that Trump is in control of things. I can't see them wanting to make it to discovery. I just don't see that happening. I think they'll fake kill Brigitte first, but they'll be like, oh, Brigitte passed away from stress because of what Candace did. Oh, nobody can talk about her being a man anymore because Brigitte's gone. You know, this is terrible. The French press is reporting that Annie Trogneau died on July 3rd and then was buried on the 15th in Amiens, and that Anne-Marie's daughter, Christine, died on July 19th and then was buried on the 25th. So that was 2 days after my lawsuit. Anyways, take from that what you will. We're still investigating. Things are happening. Strange events are happening. It could be nothing. Who knows? It, of course, is interesting because, you know, had those two individuals have been alive, we may have liked to subpoena them, get a statement. I am telling you to back off right now. Like right now, don't do it, okay? Don't you think about it. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you were that were exerting pressure. Don't you pretend to be noble now and say nice things about Charlie Kirk and think you're going to slide into his chair, okay? Over my dead body, which I'm sure can be arranged. They would rather protect Brigitte, even though the whole world no longer believes that Brigitte Macron was born a female, right? But they would rather risk the entire thing coming undone than to just say, okay, maybe we took it too far. Let's get Macron out of office and put somebody else in there that we can control. They are taking this way too far, okay? Killing people more is actually going to catalyze the understanding that we're all having that there is something very dangerous and something deep and dark that is going on. So anyways, like I said, if I get killed, it's definitely a Zionist. Like, what is this? What are you guys? None of this is real. How are you just coming up with these weird storylines?
And so no hard evidence, no facts, no true reports, just her feeling some kind of way about someone wanting to take her life, wanting to threaten her life, all of the above. I mean, it just makes no sense. As we see this take place, you have to ask yourself, I mean, why is she even willing to constantly do this? The claim is that she sent information over to the Trump admin. Okay, we'll see what happens there. But we do know that a real person was recently assassinated. And the only thing that Candace has done is strategically exploited the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and on numerous occasions implicated everyone closely related to him, which isn't good. And for Christians to overlook this and for people to see it take place, you have to say to yourself, man, what is this woman trying to do? She constantly says that she wants to burn it all down. I have proof and evidence to burn it all down. Everyone's against Charlie Kirk over and over and over again. Things aren't adding up, but it's time for people to recognize this and stop being duped. I want to show you this next video clip here. Once again, Candace at her best, insinuating something without factual information. Watch.
Are becoming Brigitte season 2. And we were looking at how unusual it was that a dog was barking a bit too loud. You know, a thief that nobody was pursuing was running. And that was us discussing the MK Ultra program, and Brigitte Macron strangely and Emmanuel mentioning MK Ultra in the lawsuit to us 18 times struck us as odd. Speaking of MK Ultra, first book we're going to be reading is Chaos, because it is like, yeah, we should learn a bit about the CIA and the secret history of the 60s, and some of those themes may be relevant as we go along with this series. Brigitte Macron was born. It's also the same day that the CIA's MK Ultra program was born. Emmanuel Macron spent a ton of time isolated throughout his childhood. Just off the bat, his father Jean-Michel Macron was a psychiatrist. And yes, of course, we know for a fact that psychiatrists have done some evil things. And then also recognize that the majority of the...
And we know for a fact that psychiatrists have done some evil things. What does this have to do with that psychiatrist? I mean, of course, podcasters have done some evil things. Basketball players have done some evil things. Tennis players have done some evil things. Pastors have done some evil things. Politicians have done some evil things. Candace has possibly done some evil things. I mean, how do you make that connection? I mean, can y'all see this? I mean, let me know below in the comment section. Can y'all see what's going on? She just insinuates stuff. And if it makes sense to her, she forces people to be in a position where it has to make sense to them. And many people are under a spell. Y'all got to get out of this spell, man. This hocus pocus. It has to stop. You can't let the hocus pocus of Candace Owens dupe you. If not, she can say anything and you run with it just because she said it. It shouldn't work like this. This is crazy. People have to stop. Watch.
Documents pertaining to that program were destroyed. So we don't know just how global that program went, as we were trying to determine whether or not it could have been Brigitte Macron that was involved in that Stanford experiment, this prisoner 2093. And what really terrifies me is that if my inclination that Xavier Poussard's messages have been being read and tracked for longer than I even realized, and that's the reason they initially sent that cease and desist in December, was to ward me off sitting down with Xavier Poussard, then what we hadn't yet presented to the audience, but what we were investigating on the back end, if they were aware of that, it really makes me wonder if we were on the right track. And it was something that was so sinister, you know, involving maybe another step of the MK Ultra program being used to foster serial killers and to give serial killers new identities and allowing them to run in countries. That was kind of conversations that I was having in the background with Xavier. And we thought that we had perhaps identified Brigitte Macron at Stanford University, a possibility is what I would say. We were maybe at a 50-50%. If there is anything to know about Kabbalists, it's that the numbers matter deeply to them. Numerology is important. So I say to myself, the numbers of the prisoners, they cannot be random. They are random, but they can't be random. They have to hold some sort of a meaning. They're all over the place, right? Some of them are 3 digits. Some of them are 4 digits. There's no flow. Why would somebody do this? More than anything else, it's just difficult for you. If you're controlling this experiment, it's difficult to keep track of all of these numbers. When you just want to make somebody like 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. And then it hits me. Everything about this experiment is military. These numbers must be military. They must hold military significance. And lo and behold, the prisoner numbers just so happen to correspond to 1971 military bases. And I'm going to go through those for you guys right now. Doug Corpy's was 8612. That is the number that was assigned for the Naval Weapons Station in Long Beach, California. Incredible. That one took me a while to hack because apparently when it's a medical center, a medical facility, they give them what's known as DMIS numbers. But again, Long Beach, California. Jerry Shue. We have Camp Pendleton, CA. That is, of course, also a naval base in California. And then, last but not least, and you guys don't have to show this next one because I want to speak through this. Tom Williams, prisoner 2093. Is this a naval base? I get a hit, guys. I do get a hit of a naval base that it corresponds to, the naval unit, rather, that it corresponds to. And it is the only naval unit on the list that is not American owned. And it just so happens to be French owned. Clipperton Island. Who knew? A naval base on Clipperton Island. First thing I'm thinking is, what the heck is Clipperton Island? I'm wondering if it's me My husband then says he's never heard of Clipperton Island. And that's crazy because my husband is the king of geography. Xavier Poussard says he's never heard of Clipperton Island. So let me show you this island that apparently not many people have heard of, that had a military naval base and presence. That is a French island. Check this out on the map. Yep, let's go in here. Clipperton. What the heck goes on at Clipperton Island? It's incredible. And then suddenly Charlie Kirk gets assassinated, and it totally throws us off of the scent entirely because we're trying to figure out what happened to Charlie. And now, strangely, trying to figure out what happened to Charlie has brought us back to a France question, right?
So she's now dragging Charlie Kirk into her drama. Do you see what she's doing? She takes you around the world on this adventure of this information and meaningless talking points and this anecdotal data point and Gilligan's Island, I don't know, man, and then brings it back to Charlie Kirk. See, Candace is now linking the assassination of Charlie to her feud with the Macrons, Israel, and whoever else she's fighting this week, because she's fighting someone every week. It's just a different person. There is zero evidence and zero intel and zero verification of all of this stuff. This isn't whistleblowing. It's attention-seeking theatrics. And she also has a pattern of crying wolf. You saw that in the video clips. This compilation shows every single time Candace has claimed someone is trying to kill her. You just watched it. Every time. No police reports, no FBI involvement, no witnesses, no dates, no details. We're supposed to believe it because she said it. It's a repeat pattern. Start a fight, call herself a victim, blame powerful enemies, and monetize the outrage. You know what? Maybe I should try this one week. Start a fight with someone, then call myself the victim after I pick a fight with someone. And then blame, Israel, the Mossad, MK Ultra, France, the Boogeyman, the Ghostbusters, And then at the end, now that everyone is concerned about, Pastor John and his safety and my beautiful 3 children and wife, then I can monetize the outrage. This is a new form of capitalism, guys. And then also, her victim narrative is always strategic. She uses, they're trying to assassinate me as a shield to justify bad behavior. She uses, I'm being targeted as a weapon to slander others. And this is now smearing close friends and allies of Charlie as if they're part of some plot. She is actively rewriting history to make herself the hero and everyone else the villain. That isn't loyalty, my friends. That's diabolical opportunism. In addition, conservatives need to protect truth, not personal cults. The conservative movement is already facing division, censorship, and foreign manipulation. The last thing the movement needs is a self-created circus that fractures unity, and Candace Owens can care less about this taking place. Candace's unchecked conspiracies do far more harm than good, especially when Christians pick them up and begin to believe what she is saying. This isn't about silencing her. It's about expecting evidence. No one wants harm to come to her, not even me. I wouldn't support something like that. I'm not that person. I believe that you can disagree with a person's viewpoint, think that they are running a sham, but at the end of the day, you don't have to get into trying to assassinate them for doing so. Everyone supports legitimate threats being taken seriously. They should. But when someone makes public assassination claims without a shred of proof, it forces the question, is she misleading people? Is she manipulating emotion to gain sympathy and power? In addition, this isn't just about Candace. It's about a movement losing its discipline, the conservative movement. The conservative movement used to be united around ideas, freedom, border security, strong families, strong economy, being pro-life, all of that stuff that attracted me at least. Now, too many influencers are chasing personal drama over national priorities. Candace's antics are just the loudest example of a bigger problem: ego-driven chaos. In addition, is manufactured drama, which weakens the entire conservative movement. Every time someone in MAGA burns down allies for clicks, the left celebrates. CNN, MSNBC, and the entire anti-Trump machine feed off of internal division. It saves them from addressing Biden's failures or what could have happened if Kamala Harris would have been president. And then Candace's conspiracy spirals create free ammunition for Democrats. See, MAGA is fractured between workers and performers. There are two groups now: the doers. These are people working behind the scenes, organizing, campaigning, fundraising, protecting the movement, the doers. And then you have the performers, people starting fights for content, tearing down allies, and calling it truth. One group builds the movement, and the other endangers it. We have to know what we're dealing with here. Personal crusades are drowning out policy. The economy is shaky. The border is breaking. Crime is exploding. But what are we talking about? Who said what on a podcast? Who's accusing who of imaginary assassination attempts? And this is political malpractice. Conservatives can't defeat Democrats if they're busy fighting each other. Internal warfare drains time, attention, money, and energy. While Democrats prepare for 2026 with organization, money, and media backing, some conservatives are busy cannibalizing their own. The movement is weaker today, not because of the left, but because of the performers who are fighting against the doers. You see, the 2026 midterms are around the corner, and a chaotic perfect storm is brewing. Trump won't be on the ballot, meaning turnout will rely entirely on discipline and unity. The base is energized, but we're divided. Influencer infighting is fragmenting trust in conservative voices. The GOP is running on fumes while the Democrats, the Democrat machine never sleeps. Expect multiple MAGA fractions running their own candidates. Trump-aligned candidates, populist outsiders, establishment Republicans, you're always going to have that. Influencer candidates trying to monetize their fame, plus spoiler candidates backed by left-wing donors. This is a recipe for fractured primaries, split votes, and dim victories. And finally, Democrats will try to capitalize on conservative infighting. Strategy is already forming. Republicans can't govern themselves, let alone the country. That's where we are. They'll use Candace-style drama as proof the movement is unstable and unserious. And every unnecessary feud becomes a campaign against us, a campaign ad at that. And so, Candace Owens, seriously, my friend, just stop it. Just hang it up. What you're doing to the conservative movement is diabolical. And for people to not be able to see, not only with their natural eyes, but with their spiritual eyes says, yeah, that we need to wake up and smell the coffee. Because if we're not careful, 2026 will be dismal when it gets to the midterm elections. Let me know what you think below, my friends, in the comment section. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I weak or am I strong? God bless you and God bless America. Do me a big favor, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Take care.